Okay, so this is for the explicit formula. And this one we did together all in class, so we don't have to worry about that one. But remember, instead of the nth term, I'm looking for the y equals mx plus b here. I guess I could have switched them, but I felt like you needed more. And then not, since we're doing the function rule here, I'm looking for your explicit. So that's going to be your ace of n equals your d times your n minus 1 plus your first term, ace of 1. And then the recursive formula is the ace of n equals ace of n minus 1, your previous term, plus your d, your common difference. Okay, so right here we have 12, and it tells us that there's a common difference of -4, so then I know I'm just going to subtract 4. So then that would give me 8, 4, and then 0. So for the recursive formula, I would have ace of n minus 1 minus 4, since it's negative. And then for my explicit, I'd have -4 times n minus 1, and then plus 12, because 12 is my first term. Okay, so now to find out what my equation would be, I'm going to go to my stat edit here. Okay, and so on this, like the table that I'm going to set up from here is going to be, it'll always be 1, 2, and then 12, 8. And I should say it's always going to be 1, 2 when it comes to our arithmetic sequences. Okay, so all I need to do is change out these two values. So it's going to be 12 and 8. Oh, oops. Then I need to go back to stat, over to calc. So then I see that my function rule is going to be y equals -4x plus 16. Okay, on to the next one. All right, so this one I can see that it's increasing. So I need to see what my difference is. Is it 1.5? I think it is. If I said -12 plus 1.5. Yes. So my common difference here is 1.5. So that means for my recursive formula, I would have ace of n minus 1 plus 1.5. And then for the explicit formula, I'm going to have 1.5 times my n minus 1 plus my first term, which is -12. You could actually write -12 there. I would prefer you write -12. And then for my function rule, again, 1, 2, and then I have -12 and -10.5. So I'm going to go to stat, edit, so -12 and then -10.5. Back to stat, over to calc. Oops, I think I hit something I wasn't supposed to. 1, stat, calc, 4. That's why I messed it up. Okay, hold on. Let me go to a different calculator. So going back to stat, edit. So -12 and -10.5. Back to stat, over to calc. Okay, so there's my function rule. Y equals not negative, 1.5x minus 13.5. Okay. All right, so this time they've only given me the first term, and they've given me some information from the recursive formula. And this is telling me that this is D, right? So my common difference is 12. So from here I know that I'm going to be adding 12 each time. So -4 plus 12 is going to give me 8. And then 8 plus 12 is going to give me 20. And then 20 plus 12 is going to give me 32. So I've finished my sequence. Now I'm going to write my explicit formula. So that's going to be 12 times n minus 1 and then -4, since my first term is a -4. And then for my function rule, I have -4 and 8. That's my first two terms. So I go to stat. Oh, no, edit. So -4 and 8. And then I go back to stat over to calc. Therefore, my equation is going to be y equals 12x minus 16. All right, next one. Okay, so this time they've given me the first term of the sequence, and that the common difference is -2.5. So I'm going to start at -4 and just subtract 2.5 from it. So that gives me -6.5, and then I'm going to subtract 2.5 again. That gives me -9. My last one, -11.5. So now my a sub n for the recursive formula will equal a of n minus 1 and then minus 2.5 since my common difference is negative. And then for my explicit, it's going to be a sub n equals -2.5 times n minus 1 and then minus 4 since the first term is negative. And then for my function rule, I have -4 and -6.5. Okay, so going to stat, edit, -4 and then -6.5. So I can see my equation is -2.5x minus 1.5. Okay, so the last one. All right, so from here, from my recursive formula, I know that this is D. So that's my common difference. So I know I'm increasing by 4 each time. So then to finish it, 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 4 is 16. So then for my explicit formula, I'm going to have my common difference times n minus 1 plus my first term. And then for my function rule, the first two terms are 4 and 8. So stat, edit. So y equals 4x. Okay. So now describe in your own words how you determine the value of the common difference. So we find this value by finding the difference between each term value. Those are my y values. All right, so what would happen if the common difference was 0? Well, that means I would be adding 0 each time, which means that my term value would be the same. So the term values in the sequence would be the same. All right, so what would happen, or what would have to be true of an arithmetic sequence for it to represent a proportional relationship? Well, in order for it to be proportional, remember we have to create that a sub 0 so that we have an x value of 0, but this a of 0, its term value would also have to be 0 because that would mean it would have to go through the origin when we graphed it out. Okay, so that is all on this paper right here.